Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive. Today we're exploring a YouTube channel that's become my go-to source for mind-blowing science news. It's called MindSpark, Science Now.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that one. They really have a knack for making complex scientific ideas accessible and even entertaining.
Exactly. They don't just throw facts at you. They actually connect the dots and show how seemingly unrelated discoveries fit into the better picture. And today we're going to be diving into a bunch of their videos, covering everything from mapping a fly's brain to pig-to-human organ transplants, and even the possibility of a hidden planet lurking in our solar system.
Sounds fascinating. Where should we start?
Well, let's start with something that might seem a little strange at first, mapping a fly's brain. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why should I care about a fly's brain?
That was my first thought, too.
But trust me, this is actually super cool.
Yeah.
Scientists have managed to map the entire brain of a fruit fly. Every single connection between over 139,000 neurons.
Wow, that's incredible.
It is. And here's why it matters. It's not just about flies. It's about understanding the fundamental principles of how brains work across species.
Ah, I see. So by studying a relatively simple brain like a fly's, we can gain insights into how more complex brains, like our own, function.
Exactly. This research could have huge implications for everything from treating neurological disorders to developing more advanced AI.
That makes sense. It's amazing to think that something as small and seemingly insignificant as a fly could hold the key to such profound advancements.
It really is. And speaking of advancements, let's talk about pig-to-human organ transplants. This is a topic that MindSpark, Science Now, covers really well, and it's something that could potentially save countless lives.
I've heard about this. Isn't it called xenotransplantation?
That's right, and it's all thanks to a revolutionary gene editing technology called CRISPR-Cas9. This technology allows scientists to modify pig genes, making their organs more compatible with the human immune system.
So it's like we're engineering pig to become organ donors for humans.
In a way, yes. It's still in the early stages of development, but the potential is huge. Imagine a world where we no longer have organ transplant waiting lists, where people don't have to wait years for a life-saving transplant.
That would be incredible. But I imagine there are also ethical concerns with this kind of technology.
Absolutely. We have to consider the welfare of the animals involved, and there's always the risk of transmitting unknown viruses from pigs to humans. These are complex issues that society needs to carefully consider as this technology moves forward.
MindSpark. Science now doesn't shy away from those ethical considerations, do they?
Not at all. They present the science in a balanced way, acknowledging both the potential benefits and the potential risks. And they encourage viewers to think critically about these issues, which is what good science communication is all about, right?
Absolutely. It's not just about presenting facts. It's about fostering a deeper understanding of the scientific process and encouraging people to engage in meaningful conversations about the implications of scientific advancements.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Now let's shift gears and journey to the outer reaches of our solar system. MindSpark. Science Now has some really fascinating videos about the Kuiper Belt, that icy realm beyond Neptune.
Oh, the Kyper Belt. Isn't that where Pluto hangs out?
It is. But Pluto is just the tip of the iceberg. The Kuiper Belt is filled with countless other icy objects, remnants from the early solar system. And each of these objects has a story to tell about the formation and evolution of our cosmic neighborhood.
So it's like a time capsule from the early days of our solar system.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And thanks to missions like New Horizons, which gave us those incredible close-up images of Pluto back in 2015, we're starting to get a clearer picture of what this distant realm is really like.
So what else have we learned about the Kuiper Belt?
Well, for one thing, it's much more diverse than we initially thought. There are objects of all shapes and sizes out there, from small icy pebbles to dwarf planets like Pluto. And some scientists even believe there might be a hidden planet lurking in the outer reaches of the Kuiper Belt.
A hidden planet. Now that would be a major discovery.
It would. And it would challenge our current understanding of the solar system structure and how it formed. It just goes to show how much we still have to learn about our own cosmic backyard.
It's amazing how much mystery is still out there, even in our own solar system.
Exactly. And that sense of mystery and discovery is something that MindSpark, Science Now, captures perfectly. Now let's talk about something a little closer to home. Tesla's Cybercab. This is a fully autonomous robotaxi that's been generating a lot of buzz lately. And MindSpark, Science Now, has a great video that dives into the technology behind it.
I've seen the pictures of the Cybercab. It looks like something straight out of a sci-fi movie.
It does, doesn't it? It has this sleek, futuristic design that's both minimalist and kind of intimidating.
And I heard there's some mystery surrounding the materials used to build it.
That's right. There's been a lot of speculation about whether it's primarily carbon fiber, which would emphasize performance, or a revolutionary new composite plastic, which would be a major materials science breakthrough.
So the material choice could tell us a lot about Tesla's strategy with the Cybercab.
Absolutely. Is it about pushing the boundaries of innovation and potentially influencing the entire car industry? Or is it about prioritizing performance, even for a robotaxi?
It's a fascinating question, and it highlights how even something as seemingly mundane as material choice can have far-reaching implications.
Exactly. And it's one of the things that makes MindSpark Science Now so great. They don't just focus on the big, flashy headlines. They also delve into the details, the nuances, the things that might seem small but actually have a big impact.
It's like they're saying, hey, pay attention to the little things because they often hold the key to understanding the bigger picture.
Exactly. And that's a valuable lesson for anyone, whether you're a scientist, an engineer, or just someone who's curious about the world around them. Now let's talk about another cool piece of technology that MindSpark Science Now covers. AI-powered headphones that create a personal sound bubble around you.
I've heard about those. They sound pretty amazing.
They are. Imagine being able to filter out all the unwanted noise around you and only hear the sounds you want to hear.
So I could be in a crowded coffee shop and still have a clear conversation without being distracted by the background noise.
Exactly. Or you could be at a concert and focus on the music without being overwhelmed by the crowd noise.
That would be a game changer for someone like me who's really sensitive to noise.
It would. But of course, as with any powerful technology, there are potential downsides to consider.
Like what?
Well, for one thing, could this lead to social isolation? If everyone is walking around in their own personal sound bubbles, will we lose that sense of shared experience?
That's a good point.
And what about accessibility? Will this technology be available to everyone, or will it only be accessible to those who can afford it?
Those are important questions to consider.
And MindSpark. Science Now does a great job of bringing those questions to the forefront. They encourage viewers to think critically about the potential consequences of these advancements, both positive and negative.
That's what I appreciate about their approach. They don't shy away from the complexities. They present the science in a balanced and nuanced way, acknowledging that there are always trade-offs to consider.
Exactly. And that's something we should all keep in mind as we navigate this increasingly complex technological landscape. Now, speaking of technological advancements with potentially huge implications, MindSpark. Science Now has a video about a new graphene oxide technology that could keep surfaces ice-free for days.
Wait, what? Ice-free surfaces for days? How is that even possible?
It's pretty amazing. Graphene oxide is this incredible material with all sorts of unique properties, and scientists have found a way to use it to create a coating that prevents ice from forming on surfaces.
So no more scraping ice off your windshield in the morning.
Exactly. But the potential applications go far beyond that.
Like what?
Think about airplanes. Ice buildup on wings is a major safety hazard. But with this technology, we could potentially eliminate that risk.
That would be huge.
And it could also revolutionize industries like energy and transportation.
How so?
Well, think about power lines. Ice buildup can cause them to snap, leading to power outages. But if we could coat them with this graphene oxide material, we can prevent that from happening.
I see. So it's a technology with potentially massive implications for safety, efficiency, and sustainability.
Exactly, and it's a great example of how material science is driving innovation and shaping the future.
It makes you wonder what other amazing materials are out there just waiting to be discovered.
It does, doesn't it? And it's a reminder that we're still just scratching the surface of what's possible with material science. Now, from ice-free surfaces to humanoid robots, MindSpark, Science Now also covers Tesla's Optimus robot, which has been making headlines lately.
Oh yeah, Optimus. Isn't that the one that Elon Musk claims will eventually be able to do everything a human can do?
That's the one. And while it's still early days for Optimus, there's no denying that it's pushing the boundaries of robotics and AI.
So what can Optimus actually do right now?
Well, at the recent Cybercab event, Tesla showed off Optimus doing things like serving drinks, dancing, and even interacting with the crowd. But there's been some debate about just how autonomous those actions really were.
What do you mean?
Well, some reports suggest that at least some of Optimus's actions were done through teleoperation, meaning a human was controlling the robot remotely.
So maybe not as advanced as Elon Musk made it seem.
It's hard to say for sure. But either way, Optimus is a fascinating example of how robotics and AI are evolving. And it raises all sorts of questions about the future of work, the role of robots in society, and even the nature of consciousness.
It sounds like something straight out of a science fiction novel.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But this is real life, and it's happening right now.
It makes you wonder what the world will be like in 50 years, 100 years.
It does. And it's both exciting and a little bit scary. But one thing's for sure, it's going to be interesting.
I think that's a good note to end on for this part. We've covered a lot of ground already. And MindSpark, Science Now, has given us a lot to think about.
They really have. They've shown us that science is not just about cold, hard facts. It's about exploration, discovery, and asking big questions about the world around us.
And it's about sharing that sense of wonder with others.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's what makes MindSpark, Science Now, such a valuable resource. They're making science accessible and engaging for everyone.
And they're inspiring the next generation of scientists and innovators.
So if you're looking for a YouTube channel that will expand your mind and ignite your curiosity, I highly recommend checking out MindSpark, Science Now.
You won't be disappointed. Welcome back to our deep dive into MindSpark, Science Now.
Yeah, we're just getting started. And in this part, we're going to explore some even more mind-blowing topics.
I'm ready.
All right, let's jump right in. Have you ever wondered how those ancient people figured out how to invent the wheel?
Yeah, actually. It seems like such a simple concept now. But back then, it must have been revolutionary.
It was. And MindSpark, Science Now, has a really interesting video about a recent study that suggests that something as simple as spinning yarn might have played a crucial role in the development of the wheel.
Spinning yarn, really?
Yep. Apparently, researchers have found evidence that the use of spindle whorls, those little weights used for spinning, might have helped humans develop the conceptual understanding needed to invent the wheel.
That's fascinating. So by using these spindle whorls for thousands of years, humans were essentially experimenting with the concept of a circular object rotating around a central axis, which is the same basic principle behind the wheel.
Exactly. And what's even more remarkable is that the spindle whorls discovered in this study weren't perfectly uniform. They were often made from whatever materials were readily available, which suggests that these early innovators were very resourceful and adaptable.
That's a great point. It shows that innovation doesn't always require sophisticated tools or materials. Sometimes it's about using what you have and finding creative solutions to problems.
Absolutely. And it's a reminder that the seeds of great inventions can often be found in the most unexpected places. Now let's talk about something completely different. Self-replicating living robots.
Wait, what? Did you say self-replicating living robots?
You heard that right. And MindSpark, Science Now, has a whole video about these amazing little creatures called Xenobots 3.0.
Okay, now you have to explain this one. What are Xenobots?
Well, essentially, they're microscopic robots built entirely from frog embryo cells. And they're capable of doing some pretty incredible things.
Like what?
For starters, they can self-repair, so if they get damaged, they can actually heal themselves.
Wow, that's impressive.
It is. But here's where things get even crazier. Xenobots can also reproduce.
Reproduce? But they're robots, right?
That's the mind-blowing part. They're robots built from living cells. And they've developed a new form of reproduction that involves gathering loose cells from their environment and assembling them into new Xenobots.
Okay, that is officially the coolest thing I've heard all day.
I know, right? It's like something straight out of a science fiction movie.
It makes you wonder what the future holds for this kind of technology.
It does. Imagine the possibilities. We could use Xenobots to clean up pollution, deliver drugs directly to tumors, or even repair damaged tissues.
The potential benefits are huge.
They are. But of course, there are also potential risks to consider.
Like what?
Well, for one thing, do we fully understand the long-term consequences of releasing self-replicating robots into the world? Could they evolve in unpredictable ways? Could they become uncontrollable?
Those are some serious questions.
They are, and they're questions that scientists and ethicists are grappling with right now.
It's a reminder that as we push the boundaries of science and technology, we need to be mindful of the potential consequences.
Absolutely. And that brings us to another cutting-edge topic covered by MindSpark, Science Now. Quantum memory.
Quantum mechanics, always a mind-bending topic.
It is, and quantum memory is one of the biggest challenges facing the development of quantum computers.
Why is that?
Well, quantum information is incredibly fragile. It's very easily disrupted by noise and imperfections in the environment, which makes storing it reliably a major hurdle.
I see. So if we want to build practical quantum computers, we need to find a way to store quantum information in a way that's both reliable and scalable.
Exactly. And that's where quantum memory comes in.
So how are scientists approaching this problem?
Well, one promising approach involves using something called surface codes. These are essentially flat surfaces that can be used to store quantum information.
Okay, I'm following so far.
And the idea is to stack these surface codes on top of each other, like layers of a cake.
A quantum cake?
Kinda.
But seriously, why stack them?
By stacking the surface codes, you create redundancy and add multiple layers of protection for the quantum information, which makes it much more resilient to errors.
Ah, so it's like having backup systems for your backup system.
Exactly.
That's pretty clever.
It is. And it's a great example of how scientists are finding creative ways to overcome the challenges of quantum computing.
It's amazing to think about the potential of this technology. If we can crack the code of quantum computing, it could revolutionize everything from medicine and material science to artificial intelligence and cybersecurity.
It really could. And it's all thanks to the incredible work of scientists and engineers who are pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
It's inspiring to see what human ingenuity can achieve.
It is. And MindSpark. Science Now does a fantastic job of highlighting these incredible achievements and making them accessible to a wider audience.
They really do. They have a knack for explaining complex scientific concepts in a way that's both informative and entertaining.
Exactly. And they're always on the lookout for the latest and greatest scientific breakthroughs.
So if you're interested in staying up to date on the cutting edge of science and technology, be sure to check out MindSpark Science Now.
You won't regret it. Now, speaking of cutting-edge science,
Uh-huh.
let's talk about a recent study that's been making headlines. It's about the relationship between social behavior and lifespan in animals.
Oh, interesting. I've heard that social animals tend to live longer than solitary animals.
That's right. And this study, which MindSpark Science Now covers in detail, provides some fascinating insights into why that might be the case.
So what did they find?
Well, they analyzed data from over 150 different animal species, looking at everything from insects to primates, and they found that social species, on average, do indeed live longer than their solitary counterparts.
Okay, that confirms what we thought. But why is that? Do social animals just age slower?
That's what you might think. But here's the surprising part. The study found no evidence that social animals actually age slower than solitary animals.
Wait, what? So they live longer, but they don't age slower. How is that possible?
It's a great question. And it's one that scientists are still trying to fully understand. But one possible explanation is that the benefits of social living might outweigh the costs. Think about it. Solitary animals have to do everything themselves. Find food, avoid predators, defend their territory. It's tough life.
Whereas social animals can rely on each other for help and support.
Exactly. They can share the burdens of survival, which might free up resources and energy that can contribute to a longer lifespan.
That makes sense.
But it's not just about social support. Different social structures can also provide different advantages. For example, some social animals have complex hierarchies that help them maintain order and efficiency, while others have more egalitarian structures that promote cooperation and sharing.
So the specific type of social structure might influence how sociality affects lifespan.
Exactly. It's not a one-size-fits-all situation.
Hmm.
And this study highlights the importance of considering the nuances of different social structures when we're trying to understand how they influence animal behavior and evolution.
It's amazing how much we can learn from observing the natural world.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
And MindSpark, Science Now does a great job of bringing those lessons to life. Now, let's shift gears again and talk about something a bit more cosmic. The possibility of a hidden planet lurking in our solar system.
Oh, yeah, I remember you mentioned that earlier. I'm curious to hear more.
Well, MindSpark, Science Now has a really interesting video about this topic. And it all starts with the Kyper Belt. You know, that icy realm beyond Neptune that we talked about earlier.
Yeah, right.
Well, scientists have noticed some strange gravitational anomalies in the outer reaches of the Kyper Belt. And some of them believe that these anomalies could be caused by a large, undiscovered planet.
So there could be a ninth planet out there just waiting to be found.
It's definitely a possibility. And if it's true, it would completely rewrite our understanding of the solar system.
That would be huge.
It would. And it would spark a whole new wave of exploration and discovery.
Imagine the headlines. Ninth planet discovered.
I can see it now. And who knows what other secrets this hypothetical planet might hold.
It's tantalizing to think about.
It is. And it's a reminder that even in our own solar system, there's still so much that we don't know.
And that's what makes science so exciting. It's a never-ending journey of discovery.
Absolutely.
And that sense of mystery and discovery is what makes exploring the past so fascinating.
Absolutely. And speaking of exploring the past, MindSpark, Science Now has a fantastic video about a 900-year-old skeleton discovered in Norway, nicknamed the Wellman because he was found at the bottom of a castle well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a really intriguing story. And it gets even more interesting because the Wellman story might actually be connected to a famous 800-year-old Norse saga called Sverris Saga.
So it's like a real-life historical mystery intertwined with an ancient legend.
Exactly. And thanks to modern science, researchers have been able to piece together some of the puzzle.
I bet. What have they learned about this Wellman?
Well, they were able to confirm that he lived around 900 years ago, which aligns perfectly with the timeline of the saga. They also determined that he was male, between 30 and 40 years old when he died, and that he likely met a violent end.
Sounds like a story right out of the saga.
It does.
Yeah.
But here's where it gets really amazing. They were able to extract DNA from one of his teeth and sequence his entire genome.
Wow. From a 900-year-old tooth.
Yep. It's incredible what science can do these days.
It really is. So what did his DNA tell us?
Well, it revealed a lot about his ancestry. The analysis suggests that he was part of a distinct genetic group that originated in a specific region of southern Norway.
So they were able to pinpoint his origins just from his DNA.
They were, and they even found genetic markers in his DNA that are still present in people living in that region today.
That's amazing. It's like connecting the dots across centuries.
It is. It's a powerful reminder that we're all connected to the past in ways that we might not even realize.
I agree. It really makes history come alive.
It does. But here's where things get even more intriguing. The saga portrays the Wellman as a victim of poisoning during a siege. But the scientific evidence doesn't necessarily support that theory.
What do you mean?
Well, the evidence doesn't rule out other possibilities, like interpersonal violence.
So the saga might not be telling the whole story.
Exactly. It's a reminder that history is often more complex and nuanced than we think, and that new evidence can always emerge to challenge our assumptions.
That's a great point.
And it's one of the things that makes exploring the past so fascinating.
I agree.
There's always something new to learn. And MindSpark, Science Now, does a great job of bringing those new discoveries to light.
They really do. They've got a knack for finding the most interesting and thought-provoking stories from the world of science.
And they present them in a way that's both engaging and informative.
It's like they're saying, hey, science is cool and everyone should be excited about it.
Exactly. And that's what we've tried to do in this deep dive as well.
I think we've succeeded.
I hope so. We've covered a lot of ground today, from the inner workings of a fly's brain to the possibility of a hidden planet in our solar system, and everything in between.
It's been a whirlwind tour of the most amazing scientific discoveries.
It has. And it's all thanks to the incredible work of scientists and researchers all over the world, who are constantly pushing the boundaries of what we know and what we thought was possible.
And thanks to channels like MindSpark, Science Now, we get to share in that excitement and wonder.
Exactly. So if you're looking for a reliable and engaging source for all things science, I highly recommend checking out MindSpark's Science Now.
You won't regret it.
And in the meantime, keep those minds sparking and never stop exploring the wonders of the world around us.
Well said.
That's all for this episode of The Deep Dive. Thanks for joining us.